Test, test. Oh, there we go. Okay. I must not have hit the button. Hello, everyone. Okay. I'm just getting Stream Raiders set up. Tank. Tank. Did it work? That's so cute. Tank. That's adorable. We're so close to that. We just gotta get one more unit to level 20. $75 gold. Did it do it when you did the emote? That is cool. Alright. Tank, because we want to get that leveled up. That's so... It did it! Oh, cool! That's really neat. It's like just like a small extra thing. I like that. That's really neat. Slowly we're piecing all the pieces of the puzzle pie together. The pie puzzle. What? About your pie? Oh. Alright, guys. We finally got there. We're finally doing it. I'm gonna paint the mimic today. Well, the mimics, I should say. Also, if at any point it's kind of hard to hear me, let me know, because we're working with a new old mic, and I'm turned away from it, but I have it that way so that you guys can still play with the notes. We have many other things we can do. So, okay, so these are the mimics. They are by, I think these are by WizKids. They're by Norzul's Marvelous Minis. But yeah, they are by WizKids. And I know WizKids does Pathfinder and D&D official minis. These are the D&D ones. And Sketchy ordered these for me to paint. You guys have heard of paint for that. I'm happy that it's working so well.
I know.
It kind of makes me want to get the Razer headphones. Hey, what's up, Trey? You think I have a future hand model? Ah! Yeah. Can I show you something? I don't know if you know this about me, Sunshine. This right here, this is an accident that I had when I was a framer. Same with this. No, actually, this is an accident that I had when I was drunk in a kitchen. Let's see if there's any other scars on my hand. I have a few nicks and stuff here and there. That's probably the worst one. And then this is a weird thing called tinea versicolor. Which, if you have time, you should look it up. Oh my god. There's spells happening. So today we have Sirenscape going on. And right now we're listening to the Path of Device, Part 1. So there'll be weird little things every once in a while. Once it gets old, we'll switch to the next one. There's multiple playlists on this. But it's by Sirenscape. Okay, so we're gonna look for mold lines before we get too far. There's one right there. And I don't have my phone directly in front of me. I'm kind of trying something different today, just so that I'm not as distracted as I'm painting. I'm just going to look over every once in a while and see what the comments are. I know when you're streaming a game, people kind of like ask questions and stuff and try to make it more interactive. But with painting minis, I want to make it so that people can like watch and actively be involved. So I'll look every once in a while, but just so that I'm a little bit more immersed in the painting minis, I won't be. So if you have anything specific you want to tell me, just make sure you add me so that when I look over back over chat, that's like the first thing that I see. But otherwise, have fun with the new emote things that Sketchy helped me set up. It's pretty adorable. Oh wow, the mode lines are a little intense on this one. And I think once we do get started on paints, we're going to start with the Umbrella Umber by P3. I really like that one as the base paint. These are already primed, so life story. Sweetie, you're adorable. No, I know, but you said you're having way too much fun with this. Yeah. Thank you for the epic, Sketchy. Turn down the volume on Stream Raiders a bit. There we go. Okay. Back to it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to paint these. I'm gonna try as hard as I can to make like the barrel and the chest look like really, really boring, and then I'm gonna make the mimic parts look just like really bright and exciting, so that they stand out a lot more. Also, Sunshine, does this look familiar? It should.
Mm-hmm. What?
Because this is, you guys fought one of these once.
We made friends.
In the Necromancer's Cave. The Cave of Necromancy! Time for the next one. This one's called Bone Bramble. So it's really the only mold markings on the chest mimic are on the tongue, which is nice. Oh, nope. Spoke too soon. Here we have some up on the eyeballs. It's nice when the mold markings are kind of in the spot. Ooh, creepy. Are kind of in a place where there would naturally be lines, because this is kind of where it looks like the eyelids are. So the smaller ones that I just can't reach will blend in well. That's not a mold line, that's a piece. Alright, guys. Here we go. And then sometimes I feel rushed when I'm waiting for the paint to dry. So today Sketchy found this while she was organizing stuff. The water elemental that I started painting forever ago. We will, yeah, we'll paint that well. We're letting the other things dry. So, I'm gonna start with this guy. MT, what's up, MT? How you doing, buddy? All right. Reveal the paints. And because we use the wet palette, paints we were using like a week ago are still wet, which is nice. Okay, so dry, and we're gonna do the umbrella umber. Oh my god, you guys are adorable. Is it still working?
Mm-hmm.
For all the emotes? Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay. So we're gonna use enough. We're gonna use this on both of them. And we already have some umbrella umber, so we're just gonna mix it into the old stuff. Okay, bring it back to life a bit. There we go. Some water in there, so it's not too thick. Perfect. And I had like a little skin on top from the old stuff that had started drying just because it had been so long. But adding a little bit of water and mixing it up, fix that. Okay. Now we paint what we came here to do. I might actually just not do the mouth, and we'll go back over that with like a red. Because we don't really want any brown in there anyways. So that'll just make it easy on us. So we'll do two base colors on this one. It'll be that umbrella umber and then this Scorn red by P3, which I love that red so much. There are other reds that I've gotten that I love too from our new ward paints, but it's just this one. I don't know. Every time I use it, it's just perfect. You've been watching The Office? That's what she said. Oh my god, empty. Don't be sorry. That's Sketchy says that all the time. It's adorable. I can never quite time it well enough, so I just don't really do it because my timing is usually bad. But Sketchy has really good timing when it comes to that. Is the mini close enough? Oh, I should pull it up a little bit. Back and over and over. There we go. Mimics are one of my favorite monsters to use in D&D. It's because they could essentially be anything, and that's terrifying. You could really, actually, you could make a whole campaign just on mimics. Oh my god, I've never thought of that before. That would be awesome. I mean, awesome for the DM, awful for the players.
Oh, I think it would probably eventually work.
That's fair. You might want to do like mimics and doppelgangers, like basically shape changers, extended just a little bit. Just make your world like so horrible to be in. I just got to the end of season 7. Yeah, I've only seen 2 level or season level. So I've been playing a lot of D&D. Season 4 when they get married, or like when it happens, because that's when I was like, oh, okay, it's over, and then they kept going. Kind of like with Supernatural. How Supernatural, you know, when like the big apocalypse thing that they were talking about forever finally happened. I think it was like season 7, 6 or 7. I stopped watching at that point, and then they kept going, and I was like, and then it was just hard for me to get back into. Both The Office and Supernatural and shows like that are ones that I want to get back into, but it's always just so hard because in my mind, I'm just like, I've let go, and I'm like, okay, this show has ended, and so the feeling of like excitement for like the next episode is kind of past for me. But I'm happy that you got into it. Everybody tells me that I got to get back into it because if you like it, then it just gets better, is what everybody tells me. So I'm happy you're liking it though, MT. Okay. We got that bad boy done. Now we're gonna work on this bad boy. Usually struggle. Yeah. How do you know if... Yeah, Sketchy's a much better person to ask for that. I still struggle to take my meds and like to justify my meds to this day. But honestly, if you're asking that question, then you should probably look into it. Really is kind of the rule that I go by. Because I've had many friends come up to me because because I'm so open about mental health and so sketchy, and then with that, then it just breeds this culture and like this environment where people can feel comfortable talking about mental health, which is really nice. And so a lot of people have asked like, should I go to therapy? Should I do you think I need meds? But yada yada. And my answer usually is, if like you're asking that question, you should probably yes. Outside of that, like what kind of meds, different things like that, like there are so many things. And I've seen like Sketchy and I are both on Adderall, and that helps my anxiety and my ADD so much. But I had a buddy who has heavy ADD, and he went on Ritalin, and it just like wrecked him. So really, like going to a trained professional is the best thing. And honestly, I would even recommend going to a psychiatrist because for most of my life, I went to like just family practitioner doctors for my mental health stuff, and they had no idea what they were doing until like I think like 4 years ago. I finally went to a psychiatrist, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you need stuff," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he gave me stuff, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I feel so much better," and he's like, "Yeah, promise me that you the next time you go to somebody for mental health stuff, you go to a psychiatrist." But again, that's more for like because I have PTSD, ADD. I basically have the bingo mental health bingo. So that's why I go to a psychiatrist. But if you just have one thing, then and you feel like it's just one thing, then usually a family practitioner doctor can kind of narrow that down, or a lot easier, because then it's just one thing that they're looking into. Because mental health is tricky. But in the same vein, uh, if you are doing that, you should also think about therapy. Because mental health is rough, man. To go it alone is a hard path, and having a therapist, that alone makes it feel like you're not fighting it alone, because you have somebody to talk to. Even just like ADD, like right, like you think of it, it's just ADD, but really, your brain functions so much different than the rest of the world, and that's hard. And it's nice to be able to go talk to somebody about that. Struggle. British office. Just making excuses for myself. Yeah, that's you just gotta do it. But honestly, the first step is the hardest one. Just getting there, because once you're there, you then have support. Like your friends will always help you. If you have good friends, of course. Um, but once you actually finally get to the doctor, the psychiatrist, or therapist, whoever it is, then you have somebody uh, on your team. You have somebody kind of batting for you. So at the very least, in that, they'll help you schedule appointments, set reminders. That's what they're there for. And of course, it's never perfect. Sometimes it doesn't go like we want, sadly. But don't give up. Honestly, mini painting is something that I do for my mental. It helps my anxiety so much. When I paint minis, I'm just so much happier. Already, like just starting painting minis this morning, I've already relaxed. Um, and like my body, I can just feel my body relaxing. Just because for me, it's like I could sit here and paint minis and talk all day. Uh, and yeah, it took me a while to find that thing though. but in the same vein, because it is such a precious thing to me, I have to be like I was feeling so anxious earlier this week, so I was guarded with it, so I wasn't able to stream. So I need to get to a place where I'm not as guarded with it, and I'm able to just come on and stream and do it.
Get ready for everything you ever wanted to hear, know, and find out about Hulk Hogan, the greatest of all time.
Brother! But it... Therapy... What I needed. Would be nice if I... Oh my god, I love that you use that, FT. Yeah, honestly, when I first started going to therapy, and I got diagnosed with a bunch of stuff, the thing is that, my therapist had me start dealing with my trauma and my PTSD, and then my anxiety and my depression before we even touched my ADD. Because for me, those were the things. Like, even if we went to ADD, I would start getting overwhelmed because I was like, I have all these other things that are just in the back of my mind. ADD, sure, is causing it to be a problem, but, like, if we don't deal with them, they're still going to be there. And so, stepping in and dealing with those problems first then allowed me to be able to go start looking at my ADD. So, and it was nice because forever I ran from my ADD. But dealing with and like tried to pretend like act like I didn't have ADD, right? Like I saw it as like a sickness or a problem. I mean, and it is a problem, but like something that like was you should be ashamed to have. But dealing with all my other problems first, and then coming up to ADD and being like, all right, it's time to conquer this. Time to like get my foothold in this door and really start battling this demon. Made it a lot easier. I had the tools. Oh no, you're good. Was it too loud? Because if it seemed too loud, please let me know, because I can turn that down. That is something that I can actually change, and I would like to know if it was too loud. Thing for his birthday usually? Oh, you do? Oh my god. Oh, that's, yeah. That's rough, MT. Yeah. I mean, every therapist has a different way to approach things, but, you might just need to tell them, that you want to stop and kind of deal with that first. Because my trauma, when I was talking to my therapist, was like, oh god, you have so much sorrow. Let's stop and deal with this first. And I was like, wait, you noticed? Okay, so those are both beautiful. But now to add the Scorn Red by P3 Paints. It came through on my stream. Too loud. Oh shoot! No! Don't be sorry, MT. That's me. I can actually change. I'm gonna go change the volume of that now, because if it is really loud, I don't. That's something that I've been worried about, and I haven't asked anybody yet, and it's really easy for me to fix. And I'll do that real quick. I'm waiting for those browns to dry anyways before I apply the red. Log in with Twitch. edit. It's so funny because I actually have the volume for this down so low on the app. But I think the sound bit that I used is just like so loud that I've had to turn it down that low. I turned it down 50% from what it was, so that should help. Because the Kool-Aid one and the other ones aren't as bad, but I think just that sound bit that I used is just so overwhelmingly loud. Okay. I mean, it's Hulk Hogan. He's intense. It's supposed to be loud, guys. Okay, and we actually still have some of the Scorn Red here on the palette. Ooh, Stream Raiders. Oh, you guys are joining. Thanks, guys. Okay, start battle. Oh wow, we really riggedy wrecked it. Open. All right, 15 gold. If anybody wants the 15 gold, you can redeem gold. Actually, I'm going to change the volume on that one too. In the channel points. And if not, then we'll just do random and keep moving on. I'll give you guys a couple seconds for the stream to catch up. But it's in the channel points. You can redeem. It's just called gold. And then the gold's yours. It's just 15 though. Nothing big. If you want to save for bigger treasures, then I understand. There are larger fish to catch out there. Alright. We will do random. Neon Halo. Got the 15 gold. Alright. Next. Reward. Bronze. And tank. Let's put a couple supports behind him if you guys need. Hey, look at Neon Halo hopping in there right away. You adorable person, you. Let's throw a couple assassins. Don't worry about like placing these if this is definitely no pressure. This is, I know sometimes some of the daily things for people are to place on things, so I'm putting that there. So if you need to do dailies, you can. Okay. Back to this bad boy. Getting those tough to reach places. And the nice thing about doing this base coat is that, like, some of these tough to reach places later on are really hard to get to without messing up the paint that you've already put on. So, applying, and this is why I did the red here instead of the brown on, like, the mouth, and I'm going to do it on the crystals, is because now, later on, when we go back, and, like, you know, I've done the teeth and everything else, the mouth, the inside of the mouth, we might add a little bit of texture, but really having the inside of the mouth and like the overall tongue and teeth and everything is red is great. Like that's the color that like it should be. So, and also as you add layers, like that little color in the background will start to kind of shine through just a bit, depending on the colors of the stuff. So, just a few tips from the humble painter. We are definitely going to play with those gems on top of the head. I think I want them to be gems, and then we're going to make the ground kind of gemstone-y. I don't usually do a lot with the ground, but I think on this guy we're going to. Just because that's kind of fun. Because I don't know if you guys know any of the Mimic lore, but Mimics will lie in wait for their prey for a very long time, sometimes. So, for something to form on top of it like that would not be unheard of. Also, mimics will transform based on like things that they can see and stuff. So, if it's like in a cave, if it's in like a really, like a mystical cave or something, for it to kind of like adjust to the setting background a little bit, also would be very mimicky. And a trick for DMs, which I'm not afraid to say this because if any of my players are watching, it will scare them even more. But if you're a DM, just put like a little bit too much description into like a door or a chest. And it doesn't have to be a mimic. And then just watch what happens. But remember to every once in a while throw a mimic so that they know that mimics exist in the world. Like, don't do that until they know what a mimic is. Like, if it's new players, if you did that to new players, they'd be like, oh, that's weird. Like, before they know what a mimic is, right? But after they've experienced a mimic, just put maybe describe what the iron looks like a little too much on the door. Just like something. And then just watch your players squirm. And it's wonderful. After Sketchy and I had our players fight the mimics in the cave, it was really fun to watch how they interacted with things just for like a little while. And it starts to fade. Like you definitely want to use it sparing, because it's one of those things that if you do too much, it's just going to get old and they'll be like, yeah, whatever. But if you use it at the right time, it's beautiful. Okay, so we almost have the mouth done. Just gotta pick these little weird things here, and then the arm things. Okay. And then I saw a spot that I missed with the umber underneath. Umber underneath. So my hope and my dream one day is to be able to have a set up so that when we stream our D&D games, we can actually play in person and then have like cameras on everybody, like most people are used to with all the different like live D&D games and like the popular ones. But then the little added thing that like I can bring to the table is that then I'll show the minis that I painted here on stream. So it'll be like a little fun thing for a stream to watch me paint minis, and then we go and you guys kind of know like some of the things that are in my arsenal and what could potentially be coming. And I just think that would be really fun. Okay, we're gonna move to the next sound. This one is called Ulrich's Grave. Okay, so now we'll probably end up going back to the umber on some of it, but we kind of want to lighten it up a little bit. But not like too much. So we're probably gonna do a pretty. We don't want our paint as watered down this time, because we just want to paint like the top. We don't want to get in between those grooves. So we're gonna do, and I kind of want to do a little bit more earthy green, especially if we're gonna put the jewels on top. We want it to look like it sat there for a while. So I'm gonna use this Battle Dress Green, which is a very brown. You're back! Welcome back, MT. Okay. So. And as far as the wood goes, we're going to do a similar feeling on the wood. So I'm not going to add any water other than it being on the wet palette to the paint. And actually what I'm going to do, excuse me, my allergies are coming back, is we're going to put it here on my thumb. And if you had like a second palette that was a dry palette, you could put it there too. But for me, this isn't like the best thing to do. Probably shouldn't copy it, but it's what I do. So I'm gonna just kind of put my excess paint here so that I can come back here and just dab on this a little bit. And we're going to dry our brush off, and you can see that the paint is still on there just a bit, and that's what we want. Now we're going to start applying that to the wood. And what you'll see, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it yet, but what you'll see is that now in between those grooves, that umber color is staying in the grooves, and even because this is like a lot drier, even some of those rivets that the mini has on it that are kind of like built in there to make it look, give it like a woody color, are not soaking up all the paint, and it's allowing it to kind of stay that umber color. Now here, because it got red, we're going to apply just a little bit more to get rid of that red. The back and forth of the color battles. The war is waged, fought, and won. All with the steady hand of a Paintbrush. Oh my god. This one has metal guitar connect. That's badass. Hell yeah. I got really bad back pain, so Oh no, MT, I'm sorry, buddy. Back pain's the worst, man. Hopefully you can get it figured out before it gets too bad. What kind of back pain is it? Actually, don't tell me that. It's probably better for you to distract yourself. Listen to my voice. Also, it's nice to see you back and see how you been, man. How's quarantine over there? And how is it having the sunlight back in your world? Well, I mean, you're in Britain, so, like, I guess sunlight is relative. But more sun than there was before? Alright, now it's starting to get just a little bit too dry. That's what we wanted, but... Okay, and there's a couple spots where the umber didn't hit. We're just gonna go over and dab those so that white isn't. Dab it! Dab! Do the dab! Get the bottom. We're gonna get it on its bottom, guys. What does that even mean? I think I do. Hell yeah. That looks great. Oh my god, that's already coming together so quickly. That makes me so happy. Okay. We're gonna move over now to this guy. We're gonna do the same thing. Four-foot sofa for the last. Oh, damn! And, that's fair. Yeah, by the end of, like, summer, oh, damn. We forgot to dry it. That's okay, we can fix this. We can fix this. My own technique, I forgot. By the end of summer, I'm like, I hate the sun. And honestly, autumn is like my favorite season. Sketchy says winter is the best. I disagree. No, I still like autumn. Autumn's my favorite, but then the other seasons I kind of jump around. By the end of summer, I'm like, bring on autumn, because I'm ready for it. And then winter's coming, and I'm excited for winter. And then towards the end of winter, I'm like, oh, springtime's coming, I'm gonna get to see the sun! So, I kind of... Yeah. But, pumpkin spice, man. MT, you've been following me for... Damn! Your team Autumn, that's fair. Damn, almost 10 months, MT.
Almost enough time for a baby.
Yeah. If we were having a baby within the period of time that you've been following me and we've known each other, you'd be about to have it. That's weird. But also cool. But mostly weird. for me to say out loud, and now I'm realizing that it's weird. And see, I have a question for you. One of my all-time favorite shows is a British show, and most people in the States haven't heard of it. And it's kind of obscure here, and I'm curious. I'm hoping that like my favorite show isn't like a basic bitch show there in Britain. But if it is, that's okay. I'll own it. One of my favorite all-time show is Black Books. I love that show so much. And when I tell people that around here, they never know what it is, and I'm kind of okay with that. But like, just like the humor and like the super nihilist comedy is just so great. I eat it up. That's funny. You now look 9 months pregnant. So... Oh, this here is metal. These are wood. Or at least they're supposed to look like that. Okay, I'm seeing that now. We're gonna put more of the wood color up inside. Alright. And now we're gonna do... I'm gonna let those browns dry. And later we'll dry brush and do like a really light brown, but super, super light, like not even that much of it. And then I may go over some of the more exposed areas with the umber again, just to give it that shadowy look. But we're gonna wait for those coats to dry before we do that. In the meantime, let's put our metal on. And for this, since it's just like a couple coats of metal, actually we're gonna do one coat of this, the molten bronze, and if we don't like how dark it is, then we'll put like a light coating of this on top, which is a Citadel bronze, basically. It's called Retributor Armor. Oh, you haven't heard of it? Nice. I mean, that's a good thing, right? Because that means that it's not. It's not a problem because I don't own a TV. Stupid thing in England. So if it's not on Netflix, I can't watch it. Ah, okay. It used to be on Netflix. It's not anymore. The BBC are highway robbers, basically. That's what I've heard. I've heard like everybody basically makes so many jokes about the BBC. It's so funny. I had no idea until I started watching more British television. Okay, so this. Oh, that's so satisfying. Taking that off. Peeling that little bit of extra paint off there. Okay. So, again, metallic paints kind of hurt your brush. So, a lot of people say use different brushes for your metallic paints. I'm pretty hard on my brushes at baseline. One thing that I do, though, is I keep my metallics on my. You can see that I didn't even put it within view. It's all the way over here. I put my metallic paints separate on my wet palette from my other paints. Because there are bits of, I don't know if it's actually metal or if it's what it is, but it's some kind of component to make it shiny, to have that sheen, and there's like little flakes of it, and that's just kind of rough on things. Some people wouldn't even go as far to put it on their wet palette. Also, some people say to use a different water when you're using metallic paints. Again, I'm so rough on my paints, I have to replace them like usually every couple months. Or so rough on my brushes that I have to replace them every couple months anyway, so I just don't worry about it as much. Okay. So, this is a little bit more detailed because we don't. Once you get that metallic paint on something, it kind of gives it that shine, and we don't really want the rest of the barrel to have any of that metallic paint on it. So we just want that to come from the bits that have the metal. So I have to be kind of careful with some of it. Oof. See, look at that. That's how dry it is here. I put that little bit of paint on my thumb. And thumbs aren't too, like, nearly as porous as your skin. And already that's dry. And I put, there was a layer of paint that I put it on top of too. Like, it's just how dry it is here in Utah. We were going to Faulty Towers or something old. I really like Faulty Towers too. It's kind of backwards because, and I'm pretty sure Black Books. Let me look it up. Black Books is pretty old. I don't think as old as Faulty Towers. Nearly as old as Faulty Towers though. Black Books. Black Books is from 2000 to 2004. Dylan Moore is one of the creators and actors, and then Graham Lehan, and then Bill, Bailey, and Tamsin, Margaret, Mary. I get to struggle with names. Anyways, the main characters I recognize from other things, but oh, Peep Show! I love Peep Show. It's kind of backwards because you want Netflix, you just subscribe. Be subscribed service. Yeah, I mean I agree. That's kind of how cable is here still, except for us cable is like more the service that allows you to watch it, and then different channels like are like, okay, cable, yeah, we'll be on your service. But then it allows the networks to still like have the subscriptions. But the problem we have is that then you have like 20 different channels that are like, hey, subscribe to our thing and you can watch our shows if you don't have cable. So hopefully that gets better. And then a lot of times they'll go to Hulu or after they've been out for a little while. But I think this is going to be maybe just a little too shiny. We're going to have to mute it. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. The shine might look nice. We'll wait until it's all done and on before I make any rash decisions. I might just go over it with like a little bit of iron to help it blend in a bit. Sorry, I'm focusing. Yeah, our living costs are insane. Our living costs are so bad. Of the Peep Show? Yeah, Peep Show is funny. I need to return my capture card. Okay. See you in a bit, MT. Oh my god, so many people. Alright, guys. Let's start this battle. I'm pretty sure we're gonna wreck it. Alright, we gotta add some more because it's starting to dry out. Damn. That was so fast. Alright, let's see what we got. 15 gold and 1 buster. We're just gonna do random and move on. And to the next one. Place my tank. Okay, so that one is done. Be so careful with the metallic. Okay, and then these eyeballs, we're not going to worry about too much. If we get metallic on there, we're honestly going to go back over them later. That'll be one of the last things we do is the details on the mimic. We're going to do our barrel first. And then we'll do the mimic. Because the way I like to do it is like from bottom up. So if you think of like what's underneath up. And the mimic has obviously, like, if you look at it, it's just popped out of being a mimic. Oh, being a barrel, excuse me. And so we're kind of trying to emulate that. So we want it to look like it only just stopped being a barrel. Oh, okay. Gotta add. And this is my brush I have here that's completely dry that I have for when I make mistakes so that I can clean it up real quick. So we need a little bit more bronze. It is now too dry. Don't want to waste any of this. Be able to use it again if I can. Normally I would just clean off my brush, but the metallic paints are so valuable. They're usually a little bit more expensive too, but they just help so much. Because just putting like just a gray color on here is one thing, but then if you're able to actually put the metallic paints, oof, they really help it pop. Switch up our music. This one's called Archon's Tower. Yes. I think that's. Oh, I flipped it down this way. Here. Then we're gonna go back over. There were a couple spots that I got the metallic on, so we're gonna let that dry. And because our paintbrush still has the metallic on it, we're just gonna switch over here and do this guy here and do these metallic. We're gonna do this base coat of bronze, and then I think on the metal over here, because it's a chest, we'll definitely do a little bit more iron. But we'll see how it looks. I might change that thought after. Because on a chest there's more like hinges and stuff. So we might go more like a different color on the hinges. Also, maybe we'll put some gold in the mouth. of the Mimic. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, you guys can always tell when I'm concentrating because I stopped being nearly as chatty. These are just some smaller details. Smaller details. I feel like this is the perfect music for just before you go up against them. Let's see. Come with me and you'll see a whole world of mimics and debauchery. Come with me and you'll see a world of horror. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my open mic night. D&D edition. You hear all of it. Now we're just going to go back over, make sure we got all the metal. Okay. Go back over and get some of that. What? Oh, cool.
Made us a list of pride facts.
Oh, you did Pride Facts? Fuck yeah. Sweetie, that's so cool. Oh my god.
It goes with the pride rainbow there.
I love that so much. Thank you, sweetie. That's so cool.
And I now know how to make a list.
Oh, you do?
So make you a list too.
What? Wait, really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I just taught myself how to make a list.
That's awesome. You're such a badass. some of that bronze covered up. We're just going back over with this umber to just kind of rough it up a little bit. We want that moldy green to look a little bit more natural instead of just like everywhere. So we're blotching this umber on a bit. The original color of the wood. Okay, and using that to cover up some of the spots that I missed as well. You're such a badass. One spot we'll have to come back over with the iron. I'm liking how this is coming along. Doobie doobie doo. Hell yeah. Fucking sweet. Okay, now we're gonna do the last part of the metal, which is gonna be the iron. Actually, we're gonna do the iron and then maybe silver in certain spots. We're gonna see how I feel after I put the iron on. And we're definitely gonna use the iron to make some of that bronze look a little aged. And then my plan is to use iron on some of like the hinges and stuff. So that's where we'll start. Since starting out, our iron is going to be, our brush is going to be a little bit wetter. I might switch to a smaller brush for this. Yes, I think I will. Yeah, we're switching to a size. Does not say. I would say this is probably like a 0.5 maybe? I don't know the brushes well enough yet. I'll get there. I'll get there, guys. Hinge. Hinge. Hell yeah. That. And this with the iron. another thought for darkening it. Once we finish with the iron, we're gonna actually go over it, the whole thing except for the mimic, like I suppose mimic part, with a dark wash, which will help darken the middle and the wood, and then we'll do. I think that will give us the effect that we want. We'll see, of course, but I think that's going to get us where we want to go with all the wood and everything. With this, I think we're just going to do it on the spots that are like bolts. Yeah. I think that's all we want in there. Okay. I'm gonna let that dry for a bit. Do 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 do. Okay, download a new one. This one's called Bel's Bulge, which Bel is a demon in D&D. So should be interesting. Okay. Moves around a bit. So we're either gonna do a soft dark tone. I think we're gonna do armor wash for this one by P3. Just because we have used so much of P3 stuff on here, might as well keep going down that road. So yeah, this is Formula P3, and it is a armor wash. It's basically like a gray wash, is what it's going to be. I'm gonna do this guy first. This is the one that is sitting for a sec. Well, basically, the concept with this, for those of you who haven't seen washes or inks or different things before, this is just going to change the tone of everything I've just did, kind of add a different layer to it, and it's a light enough color, or like translucent enough that it still allows the other colors to shine, but does have enough of a color to it that it just kind of helps morph your color a little bit. And as you can see, as I'm putting it on here, it's just kind of bringing out some of the darker colors. That metal, it's taking away some of that sheen, which is exactly what we wanted. And especially as it starts to dry, it will too. And if we kept putting coats on, which we won't with this, it would just keep adding layers of that darker tint. But that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And then same with this. I think my first instinct of how much wash I needed was right. That's funny. And you can make washes a lot of different ways. Right now I buy mine, but as I paint more and more minis, you can actually buy like a solution that you can mix in with paints, and then you can just take your actual mini paints, or like your actual paints, and take like an empty bottle and then mix those up in there, because washes really are basically just like a diluted version of what you're using. The pigment does change a little bit depending on like the company that you go through, but if you get the right mix in, you can make it work, which I think is interesting. Right now I have enough washes and inks that I'm not too worried about it, but people who really like doing that are people who paint like a lot of terrain or background stuff. So like DMs who build their own like play area, or tabletop war game players who build terrain for like battling on, because then you're using like a large amount of paints, and they'll use cheaper paints than these to paint bigger pieces. And then you want to wash, but you want a cheaper wash to cover, so you can make wash really cheap. Or in the same vein, people who paint Warhammer or like war game minis, because then you're painting like a long line, so then you want a bunch of wash to just put on all the minis that you just painted. Because the other thing that it does, and it's kind of a cheater thing for intermediate and beginner people, I see some advanced people use washes, but again, it's more on like landscape and stuff, not so much on their actual minis. But one of the nice things that washes does is that as you look now that I went over it, it just kind of brings everything together. So some of the sloppier things were like maybe my hand was shaking and it was just like a little bit off or something like that. The wash helps everything kind of like tie together, which is nice. Look at that. The wood is almost done, basically. We're just going to go back over it with some highlights, which will basically be like a light dry brush of a brown color. And we might do it with a couple different browns, just depending on how that looks. But yeah. How long did it take me? Hour and like 15 probably to do the wood. That's pretty good, guys. I mean, we're not done yet, but we're getting close. Ah! Okay, now that wash will have to dry for a minute. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I'll be back. Yeah, like 10 minutes should be good to let it dry. If it's not dry enough, then we'll do work on this a little bit in the meantime, and we can even move to start doing the mimic stuff. But yeah, I'll be back. Sorry, guys. I am back. Mini stream. I'm just saying hi to Norseman real quick. Okay. Now, back to our minis. Our rather small minis. Haha. Oh, God. And it does... So, now, before we move forward too much, we're going to take a lighter brown. For this, we're going to use Beast Hide by P3 Paints. Take that. Put that over here with the rest of our browns. So if we need to make it darker, we can. Pretty sure that'll be good, though. Take one of our brushes that is very dry. We want one that's like gonna be able to do some of the finer stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna I don't want to waste this paint, so we're gonna transfer it onto there before we wash off this brush. Now we want this brush to be dry, but not getting it wet helps a lot. And I'm using a brush that I have forgotten to wash off a couple of times by accident. So it's already pretty bristly. Just cleaning some of the wet off of there. And then I'm just gonna go through, just barely touch. We're just using this to really highlight. Oh, that's perfect. Oh yeah, I need to switch the music. Let's do the epic phase. Blood debt. There. Wrecked Flying Fortress. Is the name of the track we are playing? See, I'm able to be pretty, because it is so dry, it's a lot more forgiving. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that, even though it's dried even a little bit more, and now those highlights are really just popping out. Yes. Yes. Okay, the front, we're going to be a little careful. Perfect. That is exactly what I wanted. Hell yeah. Okay. See if you guys can see that. It's pretty... The detail is pretty fine. As always, I'll post pictures online afterwards. But since this is such a small figure, it might be harder to tell. Yeah, there's a choker as well. Let's do the barrel. In, get that brown on there, and then it's dry. This one doesn't need to look nearly as aged as the chest. So just doing a lighter dry brush is perfect. Okay. That's awesome. I'm so happy with that. Okay, now we're gonna paint the mimics. Chest's gonna be a little bit harder because I'm gonna go a little bit more exciting with the rocks on top. So we'll start with that. We're gonna go like very fluorescent blue with the rocks. And I have, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go this royal cloak, and then either dark sky or Viking blue. I feel like the Viking blue might fit it better. Crystal blue. Why don't we just match the crystals? Crystal blue. Yeah. Baba Laba, what's up, buddy? Talk about games, and he said that I recommended him would be something for you. It's called Horses of Hammerwatch. That sounds amazing. Okay, I'm already listening. The name alone, you captivated me with. Tell me more, Baba Laba. Yeah, Sketchy said it sounds kind of Elder Scrollsy. I agree. Okay, we're gonna go this. Oh, this blue, which I have never used before. And some of the little extra liquid shot out there at the beginning. This doesn't usually happen, guys. I'm sorry. So this is Royal Cloak by Army Painter Warpaints. Still a little too much on there. We don't want it to bleed onto the chest that we just did. being really careful here. Oh, hey. Oh, that doesn't show up on the mic. It's my neighbor's car is a little noisy. They're really nice though, so, and they don't actually like rev it outside the window and stuff.
They don't stay long.
Yeah. It's amazing how much, if you're like a kind person, how much my and most people's like ability to stand things you do changes. It's a 2D dungeon game based on. Wait, really? Oh my god. Okay, I'm totally gonna have to check this out. That sounds amazing, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm in. I'm gonna go look it up after the stream. Have you played it, blah blah blah? Let's get pretty heavy there. Let's go back and. Cool. Okay. Oh, you're good. Do not worry. My English is probably more broken than yours. The content you can get is nearly limited because one stage harder. Oh, so is it like a roguelike? Love roguelikes. Those are my jam. Oh. So with this, we're just trying really hard not to get it onto the rest of the chest. That's why I'm being so cautious. You'll see even more than like I usually am. because this is like such a different color, but because it's a Mimic, I'm trying to like make that change. And also the other problem is this is a paint that I hadn't used before, so the bottle was completely full when I mixed it, so I wasn't totally able to mix the paint very well, because there wasn't just like enough room in the bottle. So when I poured it out, a lot of liquid came out, and I should have done that and then just poured my paint somewhere else, but I didn't, and now I have to. I don't want to waste the paint that I have, so I'm working with it. I mean, you live in Canada, and I'm just in the shores of Germany. You're in Germany, Baba Laba? Also, I wish I lived in Canada. I wish I was that lucky. I'm close to Canada. I'm on the northern part of the U.S., but I'm not in Canada, sadly. For a lot of the stuff, and I know Canada has recently kind of had some. I have some friends on social media now who are Canadians. And some of the stuff going on right now there is kind of sad. But for all the stuff they have that is sad and hard, we have it like 100 times over. I think one, just because our population is bigger, but and then on top of that, a lot of other reasons, but which we won't get into on this stream. We'll get on to that on Political Talks with Burnham, which will probably never happen, which is probably for the best. The world doesn't need that. Okay, we're gonna let that dry. The teeth, I'm gonna go with like a bone color. We're not gonna do the teeth yet. The tongue, I already really like how the tongue looks. So we're gonna honestly do like a dry brush of like a weird off-white. Because there's some like bumps and stuff, and I kind of want it to look like it has thrush, which will be kind of fun. You know, the Mimic has been sitting there without opening its mouth for how long? So, and then we'll just kind of mix some of that red we already have with the off-white to do some of these here. Like some of the meaty bits in there. So yeah, this guy is actually really close. So, we're going to move over to this guy. Because we need to let that blue dry before we go anywhere else. Actually, is it already... Oh, it is. It's already dry. Okay. We're going to apply another coat of this blue to it. So that it really pops. It's not quite given that vibrant color that I wanted from it. And this paint is really wet. This is actually probably about as wet as normally I would recommend you have your paints, which is like a 1-to-1 paint to water. But just since I'm doing such a delicate area, it's kind of hard. Okay, now we'll let that dry. Cool. Okay, now for the off-white, we're going to use Acid Earth. I think. Might use Corpse Paint. Let's see. for the teeth, we're gonna go with this desert yellow. Just really gross, nasty teeth. My mother language in English. Why's that? Why do you wish it was in English? German, I mean, my heritage is German. I'm American. My family has been here since before most of my relatives can remember, but I'm mostly German and Irish. I'm pretty much a mutt, though, when it comes to a gathering of heritages. But the German language and German culture and everything has just always been so fascinating to me. But I imagine, I imagine it's one of those things that, like, because I don't have it, the grass is greener, right? So, yeah. Okay, so we're using, yeah, the Desert Yellow by Armor, the painter, I always forget, the Army Painter War Paints. Okay, so there's gums here and stuff, so we're gonna try to just get the teeth. These teeth are really small. You guys can see that. Okay, good. Well, that is bad timing. I usually try to be pretty diligent about the Screen Raiders, but this is such small detail, I can't look at it for a sec. Cool. Hell yeah. Alright, now just make sure none of it's pooling. And then we'll do the same thing with that tongue, but other than that, and I think we're gonna clean up the edges on the mouth a little bit. But it's almost done. And do you get some more space for them? Some more space for what, Bubba Lubba? I don't remember what I was talking about. I talk about so many things. I have the adhood. My mind tends to jump. First, let's see if this is dry enough to paint over. We're getting any of that blue back. We're not gonna touch that yet, then. We'll do the bottom first. Minions? Or minis? These things that I'm painting? Or the minions in the Stream Raiders? I'm guessing you're talking about the minis. Do I get any of them back? So Sketchy Cleric, you got 2 barbarians, and Neon Halo, you got 1 bomber. Bubba, you said once you got some space problems.
We got more storage for your ship.
Oh yeah, space problems. Yeah, actually, I did have space problems. That's right. Wow, good memory, Baba Lava. You listen. Yes. We did have space problems. We live in a smallish apartment for the area that we're in. It's 1,000 square feet, which is small,
That's pretty good.
but it's pretty good. Yeah, that includes like the garage and stuff, which is really
It
nice.
does not include that.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, okay. I have been informed that it does not include the garage. um, uh, we have one bedroom, and then it's like a kitchen and everything. But for some of the hobby stuff I have, it's kind of hard because our organization system isn't the best. Just because we don't have like a lot of cabinets and storage areas. So for some of the hobby items that you normally would want to tuck away until you use them, it was a little hard just because we didn't have great storage for that. But I got a few storage things, and then Sketchy has since hopped on board, and she's seen how happy painting minis makes me, and she has helped make the whole process like so much easier for me. And she's got me a ton of storage and continues to get me storage and minis, which is adorable. She's on board to make this mini painting thing go for as long as we can. It's pretty cute. Because painting minis makes me so happy, and painting minis on stream is really fucking fun. And I get to have fun conversations with people. I think I have had some of the best conversations with people in chat. Not like funny, but like some of the most like wholesome conversations with people in chat. While painting minis, which at the end of the day is the kind of stuff I like to talk about the most. I love joking and I love all of that. Don't get me wrong. But really getting to know people, talking about like the deeper things, people's cultures, people's like all of that is really what I'd rather be talking about most of the time. It took me a long time to learn how to joke and such things. How much is that? In meters? If it makes you happy, then. Right? Agreed. If it makes you happy, then it's worth all of the things in the world. I agree. It's important to find that thing that makes you happy. Let's see. 1,000. Square. Feet. 2 meters. I'm gonna guess that it's like 700-ish meters. Oh, I was way off. 92.9 meters. Blah blah blah. Is square meters. I guess I was way off. So cool. Yeah. Honestly, if something makes you happy, if you find that thing that just brings you so much joy, like, it's worth it. Like, at the end of the day, being happy is worth, and making others happy around you and everything is really the most important thing. Um, at that job, Norseman and I were working, which I loved all the people I was working with, but towards the end, I was just so unhappy. It was hard. It was hard for the people around me to watch too. And I'm happy where I am now. Money's a little tighter because I'm not making really any money at all right now, but my level of joy has increased exponentially. I must say that I'm so happy that I have this time because of Aw. Yeah, I know. I like talking to you too, Baba Lava. I love talking to people. It's fun. And I feel like um one of the great things with Norseman that brings it out in me is his ability to just like joke and make light of so many situations. That's something that I've taken from that relationship with him, and I'll always cherish. Don't worry, I'm not breaking up with Norseman. We're still close friends. It's just we both kind of realized we don't like playing exactly the same games all the time. So we'll always kind of meet up and play games every once in a while. Before it was just constant because we were in a similar place of trauma, and so it was like we were just both escaping that trauma from work together. Where now he's still there, and it's not fair of me to kind of be there with him because I don't have that. I don't need the level of escapism that he needs. Now it's more about managing my anxiety and my existing PTSD, um, which painting minis helps that so much. Um, where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So I feel like Norseman and I are kind of like yin and yang. We're like two sides of the coin, right? And that's why we mesh so well, and why we'll always come back and play games. Norseman's a friend I'll have until the day I die. But I like being able to paint minis like this because really uh, um, it allows me to talk with people on such a wholesome level. You like him, or are you saying? Oh, I love him. Yeah, I love Norseman. He's a brother to me, uh, and I can't say that about. I say that I say that in like a casual way about a lot of people, but I can't say that truly about very many people that they're like a brother to me. I only have so many people that like I truly consider them like a brother, and Norseman is one of them. So yeah, uh, wow, this got emotional quick, Baba Lava. You're bringing it out in me, man. Oh. Okay, is that dry? Yes, it is. Okay, now we're gonna use on top of these crystals and the eyes. We're gonna use this crystal blue by the Army Painter War Paints. Um, and I feel like finding a connection that you can have like that with people is so important too, right? Um, just we're social people, and I consider myself an introvert, but still, it's just so important to have that kind of connection with people. It's good for your brain. It's good for your soul. Uh, yeah. Okay. So now we are going to do in real life. Yeah, him and I. That's how we first met when I was 23, 13 years ago. In real life, we lived in a town together that was about 3.5, 4 hours south from here, and uh, I was in a rough state with the girl I broke up with, like one of the most unhealthiest relationships I've ever had, but one of the ones I've learned the most from. And now I actually talk to the person. I don't talk to them regularly, but I'm on okay terms with the person. Yeah, it's kosher. Um, oh yeah, I've gotten closure from it. Yeah. But like at the time, I was just broken. I was a broken person. Um, and I found Norseman, and he had like a little group of friends, and I started hanging out with them, and it was really good for me. Uh, and then from there, just a really strong friendship blossoms. And then working at the hospital with him and a lot of other people I worked with, you don't walk through that. You don't walk through like so many people that I worked with on NCC. I wouldn't call them brothers, sisters, or anything like that, but they're like family to me. Like a dysfunctional family. when you go through trauma like that with people, it does something to you. And people that work in medical, people that work in the army, cops, people that basically experience trauma on almost a daily to weekly basis with people can tell you that same thing. That like experiencing that constant trauma with people it does something to you and that person. Even the people that like I didn't like. I had a guy there that assaulted me and was one of the leading causes of the PTSD that I have today and exposing some of the past PTSD that I have. The guy, sadly, he committed suicide and ended his life. And when it happened, I felt so many feelings, and then I went through like this whole range of emotions, but ultimately I'm filled with a lot of sorrow. Like, he was still a fucking person, and he's somebody that I experienced trauma with, right? Like, and it was there. Like, we were there together. We went through the thick of it together. Like, you know? It's something else. It's hard to explain. Unless you've been there. Argus, thanks for the host, buddy, and also welcome. I have to go. Stream site movement now. I have never played. Tips. Where you learn more. Right, yeah. Hi, Argus. Yeah, relationships where you learn more from people are important and healthy, and it's good for you. Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about all that stuff with Norseman and all that and not get teary-eyed because it's just such a big part of my life. But, yeah. Thanks for listening, Baba Lava. Appreciate you, buddy. Okay. If you ever want to talk Baba Lava, you just let me know. I'm here too. I always like getting to know people and letting people get to know me, but in a lot of ways I would much rather listen to other people talk than myself, which is funny because I'm streaming, so I'm talking this time, but like reading their stories and asking other people questions and stuff. Letting other people talk. Okay, so we're adding just a touch of purple to this, to the tops of the little gemstones here. And we're just going to dry brush some of this purple onto these gums. This guy just looks so angry. And then I think with him, we're gonna put just a couple touches of like, I have a color called Necromancer Cloak, which is like an off black. We're gonna put that on at the very end. Oh, look at that! It's so fucking cool. This is when I get this excited about a mini, you can tell that I'm happy with it. We've done a couple of minis where I'm like, okay, I like it. I like the technique that I use, but like, it was okay. But like with this, where it's like a monster, right? I just love doing monsters. So much fun. The more humanoid shapes I kind of get bored with, but the monsters, I'm just like, and like envisioning it, and like I can just like as I'm painting it, I'm like imagining what I'm gonna do with my adventures with the mini, and yeah. Yeah, I guess I hope you're doing better today, buddy. I know it's probably not great, but I hope you are a step towards better. Your whole process is gonna be hard, man, and I'm sorry. Just know you can always pop in here and chill and hang and talk, or just listen. Let's see. Ooh, is this pink still? Ooh, it is. Okay, we're gonna put just a touch of like this vibrant purple pink on top. Yeah, it just ends up being like a lighter purple. Just on the tips. And then maybe on the eyes. Yes, that looks so good. Oh, that's right. I was gonna do the rocks. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, we gotta do these gemstones underneath because we wanted to make it look like it's coming from like an enchanted cave. Okay, so are we okay with the umber color we have? Yeah, I think on just some of these rocks, we're just gonna paint this and make some of it look like that gemstone-y color. We don't want all of it, but just most of it. That enchanted cave look. I think it's so funny with some of these minis that they give you the little plastic pieces to put them on. I used to put all of my minis on the plastic pieces that they come with it, just because like I was like, oh, that's what you do. And for D&D, it's kind of nice to have because it shows you the size. But something like this, like if I were to put it on there, it would barely even take the space. But this, like, they made such a neat base for this. Like, to not take advantage of that would just be sad. And so I like to try to. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm making the bases cooler. And I don't really end up putting them on the other bases very often, just because they're kind of plain and black. And yeah, for war painters, or like for war tabletop gamers, I get it because you want that size for comparison. But yeah, size matters, guys. Then to the library. Well, I hope you enjoy the library. And hopefully you have something to keep yourself entertained while you're going to the appointments. Did you download Arena for your mobile device? Magic Arena. Also, I don't know if you know Oasis Games, but Oasis Games is opening up here to the public pretty soon. I think they're already opened up, but for like Magic players. And we're going to start going there on Mondays. So if you ever want to join us, Argus on Monday at Oasis, you're more than welcome to. It's going to be like one of the more constant things. Monday evenings at Oasis. Gonna go play Magic. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then this guy, we need to kind of change the ground that they're standing on, because now that I think of it, because it is amber. So let's make them stand on some grass. I'm kind of happy that my camera isn't very big while I do things like this and shake my paint, because I feel like there could be some really inappropriate gifs made of me shaking paint.
Shake weight?
Yeah. Yeah, 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 like using a shake weight. What are you guys thinking of? Okay, so we're using again P3 paints by Worm Green. And the reason we're using P3 paints so much today is honestly because I just reorganized my paints, and P3 paints are the ones that don't fit in some of my stuff, and so they're the ones that are just out. And I just got everything organized, so you know, I'm just using them because they're there. And I like the P3 paints. They are a little bit more expensive, though. You can tell. I know the quality isn't like the best, but you can definitely tell when you're painting that the quality of the P3 paints is just a little bit better than the army, the painters, the war painters, army painters, or whatever. I always get that. But I still really like. Also, when it comes to the paints, I really prefer the squeeze bottles over the pots, because then you just shake and put it out. I probably waste more with the squeeze bottles than I do with the pots, so it's kind of like a love-hate thing. But yeah. Actually, you know what? I do like the pots. What am I saying? I like being able to dip in there, and especially that first little bit that you get out with the squeeze bottles. It's never great because you really can't pick up the paint as much as you want to. But with the pots, it's always the same. Because if it's not mixed up enough, you can just use your brush and mix it up a little bit before you get some. You have a little bit more control with the pots. Oh. Okay, we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna put a little. Ooh, actually, with the umber, that's like perfect. Yeah, we're not gonna mess with that grass. That grass looks perfect. Beef look great. We just gotta mess with that tongue a little bit. Guys, this is really close. This one's really close. Our other guy with the tools needs a lot of help. But we're getting there. We are getting there. What we might actually do is do a wash. But we'll see. We will see. Okay. So, let's add that little extra oomph to these gemstones on the ground. Try it with that. There we go. Now, purple tone might do the red tone. I feel like there's already a lot of... Yeah, I think we're going to do the red tone. But we're going to be really careful with this red wash. So this is by the Army Painters War Paints. A little bit there. Dabs. Don't want much. In fact, I usually use a bigger brush for shades and inks and stuff, but with this, we're going to use a very small brush because we don't want it to get on top. Where we're using it is the edges. We want to add a little bit more flavor. We want that to blend into the wood a little bit better. Red and brown work really well together. Or at least the brown that we're using here. I guess brown works with everything a little bit, depending on what brown it is. But this is going to make that blue there on the edge look a little bit more purple. And then blend into the wood. So that it's not as harsh. Of a transition right there on the edge. And then with the teeth, again, it'll do the same thing where just make the gums kind of purple, and then if it gets onto the teeth, which we're going to try not to, but if it does, then it'll just be red, which isn't bad for our monstrosity. I have a little bit of blood on my teeth. Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. Alright, and then on the rest, we're going to use this dark tone. Some crevices here. Jewel. That we had left over from before. And depending on what the dark does, we might need to go over with like a highlight. But I think we should be good. Hey! Trev the Gamer! What's up, buddy? Sweet, will you give him a shout out? Thanks, man. Thank you for the raid. How was your stream, friend? I hope everything is well. And what were you playing? We are painting a mimic.
Anyone know a good drinking song?
Oh my god! Thank you for the follow, Plain Chan? Plain Chan, thank you for the follow. Norseman's gone to bed. Welcome back, buddy. We just got raided by Trev the Gamer. Thank you, Trev. You're such a sweet guy. Appreciate you, man. What were you playing, man? Oh, Sea of Thieves, nice. Do they have an event? What kind of event do they? You got some chests. I do enjoy some Sea of Thieves. It's been a minute since I played it, but it's a fun game to pretty much always go back to. How was your stream, man? Ooh, Stream Raiders. Give me one sec, Stream Raiders. I'll be there. Oh, look at that. That is starting to look so ferocious. Rawr. Ferocity. got some chests from Sea of Thieves. Oh, nice, man. Hell yeah. Let's see how many followers we're at now. Thank you for the follow so much, the Plain Chan. Once we get to 100, we're gonna do. We're at 392. Once we get to 100, we're gonna do a stream where we paint this gold dragon that I have, which I'm really excited for. It's a name gold dragon from D&D, and then that'll probably take me a couple streams to paint. What time is it for me? It is 10:20 a.m. Yeah, we were talking about you, Norseman. We're gonna paint the gold dragon, and then for me, it's gonna be kind of like a time thing because I know it's gonna take me a while. It's a big mini, so I'll have to put it together and then paint it. And while I'm painting it, it'll be during that time, each stream that it takes me, I'll give away a mini and I'll ship it to you for that stream. So yeah, it'll take. Yeah, we were talking about you. Basically, I was telling Baba Lava about some of our history and how I consider you a brother and why you're one of the few people that I really actually consider a brother, and kind of some of the reasons that we're so close. Okay, now. Night, Norseman! I hope your week's alright, man. I saw the title of your stream, so I'm guessing your work week has been rough, but I hope it gets better for you, man. Yeah. Yeah, if it's already a rough week for you and you've only worked one day, that's rough. Okay, let's make sure that's the color we want. Yeah, so just like an off red, off pink color. And we're gonna just go and highlight this tongue. So we're going for like kind of a look like it has Thresh. It's been like tucked away in its mouth for a long time. And also it should just be like a gross tongue, you know? It's the tongue of a mimic. I'm guessing it wouldn't be a pretty tongue. Yeah, okay. Makes it look kind of dried. I don't really want it to look like wet. The pictures definitely depict them to look wet, but I imagine if a beholder's been just sitting there for a long time, it's going to be gross and dry. And yeah. Ooh, that's cool. Okay. You'll have to rewatch this stream. Hasn't been too bad. Oh, that's right. It's a holiday week. So what days do you have off this week? Get these gums. It's like the corners and stuff. Also, Norseman, I can't tell you how much Chris has been hounding me to play Scum. I told him no, like, 2 or 3 times, and then now he's, like, trying to bargain with me to try to get me to play Scum with him. Are you even still playing Scum? I'm gonna laugh if you're not. Because he, like, bought a server and everything. You know Chris. Now that he's working again, he's got money, so it's cute, all intentions, good and well intended, but I tried to tell him that it wasn't probably going to be the game for me. But then he was like, I can morph it so that it'll be good like this. And I was like, ah. And then he bought the server, and I was like, all right. Damn, Thursday through Monday. Woo. So you're free now. He tells you. That's fair. Are you still playing, though? No, it hasn't. Oh, okay. Okay, guys. So now, decide, are we gonna put? Yeah, I think we're gonna put a little dry brush there on top of just like the lighter back again, just to finish it off. Just to top it off. Yeah. Hell yeah. It's like, why doesn't Dan let's play it? I'm just like, dude, I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, I tried telling him, man. It's at the point now where, like, he's bargaining me, and I gave him the honest answer enough. I told him no enough. Where now I'm like, I feel like I have to say maybe, which is now a lie. But, like, I had to get to that point now, right? Because now the people pleaser is coming out because he's pressuring me so hard. I'm just like, fuck, man. Which it got me, it took me a lot to get to the point where I can be honest with people and tell them no. And now he's just like pushing him. But I get it. It's all in good intentions. He loves gaming together, and I think that's the cutest thing. I honestly would not want it any other way. I just hope that he understands when I don't end up playing. Okay. So I think these mimics are done, guys. We just have to put the varnish on.
Probably want to try before you vanish.
What?
Probably want to dry before you vanish.
Oh, that's true. We want it to dry before we varnish. We'll work on our water dude here a little bit. Which I really like. I don't want to do that much with. I actually really like this one the way it is. Maybe we'll put like a little bit of a darker wash on there. Which I will pull back out just for that. Dark tone. We're going to put these up in the window to let them dry a bit. Just keep saying no. Stay strong. I know. Okay. I will. It's something I need to work on, man. So getting to the point where I can actually say no to things has been hard. The constant saying no is tough, so I'll just use this as a test, I guess. I'll think of it as my trial and tribulation. A test of might, really. I'll send him a message today then, but he's not like lingering with the hopes that maybe I'll play. I don't know, it's tough for me. Like, it's gotten to the point where like I still want to play so many games, like that game that Babalala came in and told me about. I really want to play that. But Scum just seemed so much like a lot of other games we play that like I'd rather just like go play Rust or something like that again and invest time in the game that we've already invested a bunch of time in. I don't know. I think I'm getting spoiled. I guess something that could change my mind is if you decide that, like, you don't want to go back to any of those, because when it comes to survival games, I trust you the most. And even you said Scum doesn't seem like it's probably for me, because of some of the stuff that I said. So as long as you're willing to go and play the other survival games that we want to play together, I'll be happy. So we're just adding some dark tone to this water elemental. So the water elemental here is probably going to be an ongoing project for me, because I really like this one, and I've done a lot to the... painted a lot of elementals, and I always end up rushing them. But if you put this ink, this shade on here, and then let it dry, it ends up looking so much different later on. So we did the blue a while back, and you can see just how different the blue is all over this. And so now we're putting the darker tone on in the areas that I really want it to be darker. And then we'll let this dry. And then one day when we're painting a mini that we need some time with, and we'll come back and work on this guy again. Because next I'm probably going to add some green or aqua color of a wash to some of the areas. I kind of want the hands to be a little darker. Thanks, man. You have a good night. Okay. Oh, stream raiders were still good. Okay. Baba Lava, were you able to stream Stag Norseman? I hope you were, because that would have been really funny. Also, Norseman, what? Stream snipe, what? I don't know what I'm talking about.
You were asking me to after we went to bed, so you might be covered.
What?
I think he just went to bed, so you might be covered.
Hell yeah. That's what I thought. I didn't think he was still here. Baba Lava said that he was going to go stream snipe the game that Norseman was streaming, which I thought was pretty funny and cute. He actually really likes doing that to Norseman. It's really, really funny. Ah, the dark just looks so cool. Now we're gonna let that dark tone wash dry, and we'll come back to it a later time. And that's when we'll just always kind of constantly be working on our side project. Now, yeah, a side mini. These have dried long enough now that we're gonna apply the varnish. So normally I wouldn't actually apply a varnish this early. I'd let it dry for a few hours to a day. But these minis are small enough, and I've like actively like watched them sit and dry over and over as I've been doing it. Like, we're good. The paint is dry, but on the bigger minis that I normally do, and actually if it was like a higher quality mini, like with a lot more detail, because these have detail, but they don't have like a ton of detail. The detail on these is not as small as you could go. I kind of like this level of detail. This is where I've gotten, and I'll probably get to the point where I apply more and more detail to my minis, but this is where I'm comfortable right now. And so, but if it was like a humanoid mini that like you painted and you put really small details on, I would wait to apply your varnish until later, until like the paint really dries and all the layers are dry, so you're not going to knock any layers off. But the way I'm going to get around being able to put this varnish on early is we're going to put the varnish on kind of thick. That way we're not like actively rubbing this sticky varnish onto the mini, because it is kind of sticky, because varnish basically is like a safety coat for the paint. It's like a sealant. And this one is an anti-sheen varnish, because actively wanted the minis to look like they are kind of dry. I don't really want that shine like I have in a lot of my minis. And that's just a personal preference. I know in the pictures I've seen and stuff, they usually look really wet. But for me, just the way I think of mimics is just like this disgusting creature that's just been sitting. And maybe mucousy might be, but basically they're not like oozy creatures. They're more of like this gross, dry creature that transforms, unless it's recently eaten a victim. I don't think it's going to be very wet. There we go. So there's that finish, and as it dries, it's going to go back to pretty much the color that it was before. And again, I'll post pictures on my socials, so if you want to look, you can go follow me on them. I'm Big Burnham pretty much everywhere. Our Discord. I'll post them on our Band of Misfits Discord, on Twitter, and usually on Instagram. And Facebook. Facebooks. Yeah, so when you spend all this time putting multiple layers on a mini like this, you want to put this varnish on there at the end, the sealant, because it basically helps protect those paints, right? I've done it before where I haven't put it on there and they get kind of faded pretty quickly. Because if you put them in with other minis and you're not as careful and you bump around, right? You play Warpaints or D&D, and you want to be able to use these minis. Sometimes you just put them on display, but most of my minis I'm going to end up using, and you don't want to have to worry about hurting your minis. And the varnish helps with that. You could even apply coats later to the varnish too. So this is the varnish that I'm using. The Army Painter Wall Paints Anti-Sheen Shine Matte Varnish. And then this is the other varnish that I have that I usually use. I usually use the gloss varnish on most of my minis. You can see on this Kraken that I did, this is super shiny still, even after it's dried. See on this guy, so the skin, I used the matte varnish, and then in his mouth, I used the glossy varnish. This is actually one of my favorite minis I've done recently. Also, because Sketchy played it. So,
What am I getting?
the Froggy Muff. What?
I love the frog.
Yeah, it's a very silly monster.
You love like
Yeah, I do.
bigger and sillier the more you like them.
That's true. Well, collector lawyers. Oh, let's see. Oh, damn. I'm sorry, Argus. That's rough, buddy. I'm gonna show you guys these minis. And then we'll kind of sit and talk for a second while we wait for Stream Raiders to finish. So, here's our finished product of the minis. They started as those gray primed plastic pieces, and are now these gross aliens that no one's really sure exactly where they came from, but they lurk in the shadows, waiting for their victims to strike and eat their next meal. Next time, actually, I'm gonna post on the socials what to paint next. I'll take a couple. I have a couple of ideas. We're getting close to that 400 follower count, so we'll pick one, and then after that, we'll probably paint the dragon, but we'll see. I think this is my Twitter. Go follow that. And I'll post later on there today if you want to participate in the vote for what to paint next. I have a couple like gothic horror style ones, and then I have a couple like cosmic horror ones, and then a couple traditional dragons that I'm thinking about painting. So yeah, I want to paint them all, so, and I will, but you guys can kind of help me choose the order in which I paint them. Let's see. Yeah, Argus, I'm sorry, buddy. The American health system, that's kind of why I stopped and turned around to talk. The American health system is just so messed up. Who's the other guy? Mulberry, hello. Welcome. You just finished, I just finished up painting my minis. So this is the mimics that we painted today. I don't know how well you can see that. They're kind of small. Both mimics. Just one's a mimic that was a barrel, and one's a mimic that was a chest. The one that traditionally people usually use. Yeah, and then tomorrow, as long as I don't stay out too late tonight, then we're gonna paint more in the morning. Yeah, one day at a time, Argus. One day at a time. Hopefully, I also hope that our medical system gets better. Sketchy and I, we both worked in medical for a second, had double coverage, and still couldn't afford some of the things in our medical system. So that's just an idea. Gotta paint them all. Miniatures. I don't know if you saw it. This was the one that I was showing before. This is a Froggy Muff that I painted on another stream. And all of these are actually, like, the ones that I'm showing right now are all D&D official minis. So they all have links to the story behind them and everything. Oh my god, is that a random D&D fact? Who is in call? Let me look it up for you. Meowcat! Oh, Meowcat said gotta paint them all. Oh my god. A random D&D fact. In Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, 2nd edition. Also, Sketchy just added that. We have random pride facts, random cat facts, random dog facts. We just have like a lot of random facts that you can do. Also, this does special things when you do the pride fact. Because it's Pride Month. Edition, the Demon and Devil race were called Trail and Batazul. Also, Mulberry, don't worry, I have not forgotten your comment. I'm going to go pull up the Froggy Moth and post a link to the lore behind the Froggy Moth. Just give me a second, I'll go look it up. Or, actually, it looks like Sketchy's doing it for me.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. You've been quietly watching for a bit? Well, I'm just happy you're here, Meowcat. They were portrayed as more of an extraterrestrial threat than as stealers of souls. These changes were revised in the 3rd edition of the game where it became... Oh, interesting. Dungeons and Dragons. That makes sense, actually, because I know... Oh, who's the creator of Dungeons and Dragons? What? Yeah, Gygax. Gygax, the original creator, was originally a tabletop, like, war gamer, and him and his friends made Dungeons and Dragons as a way to, like, give stories to the things that they were using, and they used their war pieces like in their games, and so and I know originally if you look at 1st and 2nd edition, there's a lot more like really, really weird creatures. There's like some more like sci-fi based creatures. That's where the Froggy Moth comes from. There are currently estimated active tabletop D&D players. What? Hell yeah, that's so cool. So if you look at like at the old like 1st and 2nd edition, when Gygax was really, really, really actively involved, until later on, like, because he just got old, right? And then eventually died. Yeah, and got pushed out pretty early. I wonder if he sold or not.
Don't worry.
Mulberry. Is it? Oh, okay. Mulberry, that's the link to the Froggy Moth. That's the 5th edition Froggy Moth. So it's a little revised since 1st edition. But it's fun. I love the Froggy Moth because it's kind of a callback to the older editions. Because Froggy Moth was actually a extraterrestrial being that came down and is like this giant beast that the Bollywogs worship, and it's just really funny. And they kind of adjusted the story a little bit for 5th, but they stayed pretty close to it, which I think is really fun. Because I love the old weird creatures. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, and if you are a GM, look at some of the old things that like were in 1st and 2nd edition. They haven't pulled all of them over to 5th yet. There's a lot that they haven't pulled. Some of them they have. But if you ever want to run like a horror campaign, or if you want to throw something at your characters like that they're just not expecting, or if you have players that have been playing since like 3rd edition, like, because that's what a lot of people, that's where like a lot of the people that are like old players like started playing was 3rd. Pull some of those out, and I guarantee you, boom! Oh my god, the eggplant. I guarantee you that it'll kind of get them to get them a little excited. Another one that I love is, oh, what was it called? What was the name of that one that I threw at you guys that was crazy? Had like the hood and the big mask.
Oh, who that?
Hudak? Ho
I just keep thinking of Hodor. No.
Hodor. Oh, what is it called?
Bodak.
Bodak. Oh, let me pull that up too.
Hodor.
Bodak. Which, if you search it, it's really confusing. You have to search Bodak 5e because apparently somebody wrote a Bodak like song. So that's the first thing that comes up when you search Bodak. But here's the Bodak Forgotten Realms link. Comes from first. This one comes from first edition, as does the Froggy Moth. Sketchy Cleric, thank you for the epic. Alright, let's do our battle. And while that goes, I'm gonna find somebody to raid. Let's see if any of our friends are on.
You know, I just realized it said date night and dim sum at the top of your stream.
Oh, it did. I didn't change the stream name. Oh my god.
You could put it in the header.
Alright.
But hey, at least the
Nobody that really matches what I'm doing. We're gonna go look at it. It matches the what?
oh, I said at least Michael.
Do you think art or D&D would be? Let's,
Oh.
yeah, let's go to art.
Might even find some D&D short.
Oh, here's somebody painting minis. Oh my god. I thought I was like the only one that painted minis on Twitch. Okay, guys. Well, here is another person painting minis. We're gonna raid them. Wait, is it /? Oh, it is /. Then raid. Almost did now. No. Oh my god. Studios. Epic Duck Studios is who we're rating. Everyone, thank you for being here. Fucking love you all. Appreciate you hanging out with me while I paint minis. I will be back tomorrow, either morning or afternoon, depending. Yeah, love you all. Stay nerdy, and I'll see you next time.